Z-Core adjusted his optical enhancers and leaned closer to the observation window. Can someone please explain to me why we thought capturing a human female was a good idea? Because I'm struggling to see the brilliance in this plan right now. No one answered. The research facility had gone eerily quiet over the past cycle, ever since Subject H7 had started changing. Fine. Ignore me. That's professional, Z-Core muttered, making another note on his datapad. The human girl sat cross-legged in the center of her containment unit. Her eyes were closed, but Z-Core wasn't fooled. She was aware of everything happening around her. Wait, the sensors confirmed it. Her brain activity was off the charts, pulsing in patterns that defied their most advanced analytical programs. Director Pax glided into the observation deck, her ceremonial robe swishing against the polished floor. Once the facility's lead scientist, now she wore the garments of the newly formed Enlightened Ones. Z-Core found it repulsive how quickly rational minds had turned to superstition. Has she spoken today? Pax asked, her voice hushed with reverence. Z-Core fought the urge to roll all four of his eyes. No, Director. Subject H7 continues her silent meditation, just like yesterday. And the day before. And the day before that. Her name is Ellie, Pax corrected with a sharp glance. She has told us to call her Ellie. Right, Ellie. The terrifying human girl who has half our scientific staff leaving offerings at her containment unit. Z-Core couldn't keep the sarcasm from his voice. Very professional research protocol we are maintaining here. Director Pax moved closer to the glass, pressing her hand against it in a gesture that looked disturbingly like worship. You still don't understand what we have discovered, do you? I understand we have lost our scientific objectivity. I understand that 3 cycles ago we were conducting standard neurological experiments on a captured human. And now people are calling her the Oracle and the Bridge. What I don't understand is why I'm the only one who sees how deeply troubling this is. The human girl opened her eyes. Both Z-Core and Pax froze. She hears you, Pax whispered. Ellie's gaze fixed directly on Z-Core. Her lips curved into a smile that sent a shudder through his exoskeleton. Hello, skeptic, she said, her voice clear through the communication system. Z-Core straightened his posture. Hello, Subject H7. Still clinging to protocols? Ellie tilted her head. How's that working out for you? Your colleagues have moved on. They have seen what I can show them. What you have shown them is a series of coincidences and vague predictions that they are interpreting through confirmation bias, Z-Core replied. Classic manipulation techniques. Ellie laughed, the sound like musical notes that somehow made the lights flicker. Want me to prove it to you, Z-Core? Want me to tell you about the dreams you have been having? The ones where you are falling through darkness while voices whisper numbers in your native tongue? The datapad slipped from Z-Core's grasp, clattering to the floor. How did you? The same way I know about the classified military operation happening on your home world right now. The one your government is calling Celestial Shield. The one that will fail catastrophically in exactly 7 days when the containment field around the quantum reactor destabilizes. Director Pax gasped. Another prophecy. It's not a prophecy, Z-Core snapped. It's a lucky guess. There's no way she could know about classified military operations. Our neural probes never accessed those memory centers. Ellie stood, moving toward the glass with fluid grace that seemed somehow wrong for a creature with only 4 limbs. Your neural probes, Z-Core, opened doors in my mind. Doors that were never meant to be opened. And now I can't close them. Z-Core felt a cold sensation spreading through his thorax. What does that mean? It means I see everything now. Past, present, future, all happening simultaneously. Your people. My people. All people across all worlds. Her eyes began to leak fluid tears, the human emotional response. It's beautiful and terrible. So much life. So much death. So many possibilities branching in every direction. Director Pax dropped to her knees. Guide us, Bridge Walker. Show us the path. Oh, get up, Z-Core hissed. This is humiliating. Ellie's gaze never left Z-Core. You will believe soon enough. When you find the hidden files in Tark's laboratory, the ones documenting what really happened to the first 6 human subjects. A chill ran through Z-Core's body. What are you talking about? Access Terminal 17B, password Xenomorphic Paradigm Shift 943. See what your superiors have been hiding from you. The intercom buzzed, interrupting the tense moment. Director Pax. Urgent communication from Central Command. Pax rose shakily to her feet. I must attend to this. Z-Core, continue observations. She hesitated, and perhaps consider making an offering. It helps. After Pax departed, Z-Core stared at the human girl. She had returned to her cross-legged position, eyes closed once more. This is absurd, he muttered to himself, retrieving his datapad. Terminal 17B, Ellie said without opening her eyes. The truth awaits. Z-Core told himself he was only checking Terminal 17B to prove the human wrong, to demonstrate she was guessing, manipulating, doing whatever humans did to survive captivity. He wasn't prepared for the password to work. He definitely wasn't prepared for what he found in the files. Subject H1 through H6, he read aloud in the empty laboratory, his voice trembling. Neural enhancement experiment, Phase 1. Controlled psychic stimulation using targeted quantum field manipulation. Images filled the screen. Humans 5 females, 1 male all subjected to the same procedure that had been used on Ellie. All dead. Their brains literally burned from the inside out. Cause of death, catastrophic neural cascade. Subjects exhibited limited precognitive abilities before systemic failure. Z-Core scrolled through the data, horror mounting with each new revelation. The experiments weren't just about studying human neurophysiology. They were weapons research, attempting to harness and weaponize latent psychic potential that Tark theorized existed in humans. All subjects failed to stabilize the neural pathways after enhancement, he read. Recommendation. Proceed with subject H7 using modified protocol Omega-9. Z-Core's hands shook as he downloaded the files to his personal device. This went against everything he believed about scientific ethics. And yet, it explained so much about why Ellie was different, why she survived when the others didn't. The lights in the laboratory suddenly dimmed, then brightened to an almost painful intensity. The terminal screen flickered, text scrambling before resolving into a single sentence that hadn't been there before. Now do you believe me, Z-Core? He stumbled back from the terminal, knocking over a stool. This is impossible. A notification chimed on his communicator. Breaking news from the Science Ministry. An unexplained power surge had damaged key systems in a military research facility on the home world. Preliminary reports suggested a quantum reactor was involved, exactly as Ellie had predicted. When Z-Core returned to the observation deck, he found it crowded with staff members. Some wore the robes of the enlightened ones now. Others remained in standard scientific attire but displayed small symbols, a circle within a triangle that he recognized as the emblem the followers of the bridge had adopted. Ellie stood at the center of her containment unit, eyes open, arms extended. Her hair floated around her head as though suspended in liquid, despite the normal gravity conditions. What's happening? Z-Core asked a nearby technician. A communion, the technician replied reverently. She's connecting with the beyond. Z-Core pushed his way closer to the observation window. The sensors monitoring Ellie's neural activity were registering impossible readings, activity in regions of the brain that shouldn't be able to function simultaneously. Has anyone notified Central Command about this development? He asked. Nervous glances passed between the staff. We decided that would be unwise, said Nari, one of the senior researchers. Central Command would not understand. They would terminate the subject. And US along with her, someone else muttered. Z-Core stared at his colleagues in disbelief. Are you hearing yourselves? You are talking about withholding critical information from our superiors. That's treason. You have seen the files, haven't you? Nari asked quietly. About the others? Z-Core fell silent. Then you know what they did. What they were trying to create. Nari's voice dropped even lower. A weapon. But they created something much more powerful instead. Inside the containment unit, Ellie lowered her arms. Her hair settled naturally around her shoulders. Her eyes focused on the assembled crowd, then found Z-Core. The skeptic returns, she said, with new knowledge and new fears. The room fell silent, all attention on Z-Core. I have seen the files, he admitted, and the news about the incident on the home world. A murmur ran through the crowd. The first prophecy is fulfilled, someone whispered. Coincidence, Z-Core insisted, but his denial sounded weak even to himself. There are no coincidences anymore, Ellie said. Not since you connected my mind to the quantum field. Not since you tried to make me into a weapon. Director Pax entered, looking haggard. Central Command is sending an inspection team. They will be here within 2 cycles. Panic erupted among the staff. They will shut us down. They will take her away. They will discover what we have been hiding. Silence, Pax commanded. Once order was restored, she continued, we must prepare. The Oracle has shown us glimpses of possible futures. We must ensure the correct path is taken. Z-Core couldn't believe what he was hearing. You are planning to deceive Central Command? Based on the ramblings of a human test subject, whose brain we have damaged through experimentation? Watch your tongue, Nari hissed. She hears everything. Good, Z-Core exclaimed. Then she can hear me say this is mass delusion. We have created a false god from a laboratory accident. The room fell deathly silent. All eyes turned to Ellie. Instead of anger, her face showed only compassion. I forgive your doubt, Z-Core. It's the scientist in you, fighting to make sense of something that defies your understanding of reality. Don't patronize me, human. Not human. Not anymore. Her voice resonated strangely, as though multiple voices spoke in perfect unison. What I have become doesn't have a name in any language. But I can show you. Before anyone could react, the containment field around Ellie's unit flickered and failed. Alarms blared. Emergency lights bathed the room in pulsing red. Containment breach. Security to Sector 7, automated systems announced. But no one moved to activate emergency protocols. They all stood frozen, watching as Ellie walked through the now inoperative barrier as if it were air. Don't be afraid, she said, stepping onto the observation deck. Z-Core backed away. How did you disable the containment field? I didn't disable anything. I simply stepped between the molecules. Director Pax and several others dropped to their knees. Please, Z-Core said to his colleagues, think about what you are doing. She's manipulating you. Ellie approached him slowly. You need proof that transcends coincidence or accessed files. I understand. She reached out, her 5-fingered hand looking alien and wrong to Z-Core's 4-digited perspective. Don't touch me, he warned. I won't. Not without permission. She held her hand suspended in the air between them. But if you want to understand, this is the only way. Take my hand, and I will show you what I see. The alarms continued to wail around them. Security would arrive any moment. This situation would end in violence unless he did something. If I do this, you will return to your containment unit. Ellie smiled sadly. If that's what you still want after you have seen. Z-Core hesitated, every scientific principle he valued screaming at him to resist this madness. But the evidence was mounting. The password. The news from home world. The containment field failure. Something truly inexplicable was happening. He reached out and took her hand. The world exploded into light and information. Consciousness returned slowly. Z-Core found himself lying on the observation deck floor, surrounded by concerned faces. His neural pathways felt raw, as though they'd been scoured with abrasive chemicals. He's awake, someone said. Give him space, Ellie's voice commanded. Core struggled to sit up. What did you do to me? I showed you a fraction of what I see. Any more would have destroyed your mind. The memories came flooding back, visions of possible futures branching out in infinite complexity. Stars being born and dying, civilizations rising and falling across thousands of worlds. And at the center of it all, quantum threads connecting everything, manipulable by thought alone. It's real, he whispered. All of it. Yes, Ellie said simply. What happens now? Director Pax helped him to his feet. Now we prepare for the inspection team. They cannot be allowed to take her. The security team burst into the observation deck, weapons ready. They froze at the sight of Ellie standing freely among the staff. A containment breach. The security leader shouted, "Step away from the subject." No one moved. That's an order. The security leader insisted, raising his weapon. Ellie turned to face them. There's no need for violence. I'm not your enemy. Return to your containment unit immediately. She sighed. As you wish. To everyone's amazement, Ellie walked calmly back through the barrier, which appeared to be functioning normally again. Secure that containment field. The security leader ordered his team. And everyone here is confined to quarters pending investigation. As the staff were escorted out, Core caught one last glimpse of Ellie. She smiled at him, and a voice spoke directly into his mind. Tomorrow, everything changes. Be ready. Core paced the confined space of his quarters, unable to sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, fragments of the visions Ellie had shared flooded his consciousness. Vast cosmic architectures. Civilizations rising and crumbling like sand castles against temporal tides. And something lurking at the edges of perception that made his exoskeleton tighten with primordial fear. This is ridiculous, he muttered, pressing his hands against his cranial ridges. I'm a scientist, not some superstitious fool. But the images wouldn't stop. And neither would the growing certainty that Ellie's words tomorrow, everything changes, weren't just ominous rhetoric. His door chimed, then slid open without waiting for his response. Director Pax entered, accompanied by Nari and two other researchers wearing the circle within triangle emblem. We don't have much time, Pax said without preamble. The inspection team arrives in 6 hours. Core gestured sharply. And what exactly do you expect me to do about that? You have seen what she showed you. You know what's at stake. Pax stepped closer. The inspection team will take her back to Central Command. They will dissect her. Try to weaponize what she's become. Perhaps that's for the best, Core replied, though the words felt hollow. Whatever she is now, we created it through unethical experimentation. We bear responsibility. Nari made a dismissive clicking sound with her mandibles. Always the principled one, aren't you? Even now, after what you have experienced, especially now, Core insisted. I have glimpsed what she can do, the power she wields. It's precisely why proper containment and study protocols must be followed. Containment? Pax laughed bitterly. You still think we can contain her? She stays in that unit by choice, Core. Nothing more. A sharp pain lanced through Core's mind, bringing with it a flash of insight, a memory not his own. He saw Ellie, alone in her containment unit after hours, simply stepping through the barrier to wander the facility corridors. He was observing, learning, returning before dawn as if she'd never left. How long? He asked, his voice hoarse. How long has she been able to leave whenever she wants? Since the 3rd day after the procedure, Nari answered. She told me herself. The quantum field manipulation altered the way she perceives and interacts with matter. Core felt his legs weaken. He sank onto his sleeping platform. Then why stay at all? Why not escape? Because this isn't about escape anymore, Pax said softly. It's about transformation. Hers, ours. Everything. The room's lighting flickered briefly. She's calling us, one of the other researchers whispered. Core stood abruptly. This is madness. You are all behaving like members of a cult. Perhaps we are, Pax replied calmly. But ask yourself this, what if we are right? What if what you saw when you touched her hand is real? What happens if Central Command gets control of that power? Before Z-Core could respond, his personal communication device buzzed. A message from an unknown sender contained just 4 words. The vault. Come alone. The research facility's lower levels housed various specialized laboratories, storage units, and the mysterious section simply labeled the vault. Most staff required special clearance to access it. Z-Core had never had reason to visit until now. The corridors were eerily empty. Security patrols had been doubled after the containment breach, but somehow Z-Core encountered no one as he made his way deeper into the facility. The vault's entrance loomed before him, a massive circular door of polished metal emblazoned with warning symbols and security notices. A high-level biometric scanner guarded access. This is pointless, Z-Core muttered to himself. I don't have clearance for this area. As if in response, the scanner lit up green. The massive door began to slide open with a pneumatic hiss. Z-Core hesitated at the threshold. Every rational part of his mind screamed that this was a trap, that he should report to security immediately. But a deeper instinct, something awakened by his brief connection with Ellie, pushed him forward. The vault was a cavernous circular chamber with a domed ceiling. Soft blue lighting illuminated dozens of containment pods arranged in concentric circles. Each pod held what appeared to be preserved specimens. Welcome, skeptic, a familiar voice echoed through the chamber. Z-Core spun around. Ellie stood behind him, wearing the simple white garment provided to test subjects. How are you here? The security alerts are still blaring in my empty containment unit, she finished for him. They are very concerned about the missing human. Very concerned indeed. Z-Core's scientific training reasserted itself. Whatever you are doing, however you are creating these illusions. Not illusions? Ellie interrupted, walking past him toward the central platform. Just different applications of the same principles your scientists use to reshape my consciousness, with the ability to manipulate matter and energy at its most fundamental level. She gestured toward the containment pods. Do you know what these are? Z-Core approached cautiously, examining the nearest pod. Inside floated what appeared to be an alien fetus, but not of his species. Something else entirely. Genetic experiments? He guessed. Predecessors, Ellie corrected. I wasn't the first being your people attempted to enhance. Just the first human. She moved between the pods, touching each one gently. 37 species from 17 different worlds, all subjected to the same basic procedure, all failures in various tragic ways. Z-Core moved from pod to pod, horror mounting as he recognized species from across known space, some rare, some common, all transformed in disturbing ways. Why show me this? He asked. Because you still believe this is about me. One human girl. One laboratory accident. Ellie's voice took on a strange resonance. It's so much bigger than that, Z-Core. Your scientists weren't just developing weapons. They were searching for something specific. Something they detected but couldn't quite grasp. She stopped before the central platform, where a holographic display activated at her approach. Complex equations and diagrams appeared, rotating slowly. Project God Mind, Z-Core read from the display. That's impossible. That's just a theoretical concept, not an actual research initiative. The theory, consciousness itself, is a quantum phenomenon that exists partially outside normal spacetime, Ellie recited, as though reading from memory. Under specific conditions, a biological brain might serve as a receiver connecting to this larger field of consciousness. Z-Core stared at the equations, his scientific understanding struggling to process their implications. They were trying to create a connection to this theoretical quantum consciousness. They succeeded, Ellie said simply. With me. A deep rumbling shook the chamber. Dust drifted down from the domed ceiling. What was that? Z-Core asked. The inspection team has arrived early, Ellie replied calmly. And they didn't come to inspect. They came to terminate everything associated with Project Godmind, including all research staff. Another, stronger tremor shook the facility. That's absurd, Z-Corps protested. Central Command wouldn't. They absolutely would. Ellie cut him off. Because they are terrified of what they have created, what I represent. She turned to face him fully, and for a moment, Z-Corps thought he saw something else looking out through her eyes, something vast and ancient and utterly alien. We have approximately 12 minutes before they reach this level with their thermal charges, she said matter-of-factly. In that time, you need to decide whose side you are on. Chaos had engulfed the research facility. Emergency lighting bathed the corridors in pulsing red as Z-Corps and Ellie raced toward the main laboratory complex. This way, Z-Corps called, leading her down a maintenance passage. They emerged into a large atrium, just as a squad of heavily armed soldiers in Central Command uniforms stormed in from the opposite entrance. Halt, the squad leader ordered, raising a pulse rifle. Surrender the human subject immediately. Behind them, Director Pax appeared with a group of staff members, some armed with improvised weapons. You can't have her, Pax declared, her ceremonial robes billowing dramatically. The Oracle has shown us the truth. Final warning, the squad leader announced. Release the human or we will open fire. Z-Corps stepped forward, hands raised. Wait, there's been a misunderstanding. I'm Chief Researcher Z-Corps. This situation can be resolved peacefully. The squad leader tilted his head. Chief Researcher? Our orders come directly from High Command. Project Godmind is to be terminated. All personnel are considered compromised. Compromised by what? Z-Corps demanded. Quantum consciousness infection, another soldier stated flatly. The human subject is a vector for an extra-dimensional intelligence. Standard containment protocols have failed. Ellie laughed, the sound making the lights flicker. They are right about that much, at least. The squad leader raised his weapon. Step away from the human researcher. Don't do this, Z-Corps pleaded. You don't understand what she is. We understand enough to know she must be eliminated. Everything happened at once. The squad leader fired. Director Pax screamed. The staff members surged forward. And Ellie simply raised her hand. The energy pulse from the rifle froze mid-air, crackling with contained power. The soldiers themselves became motionless, as if trapped in amber. I tried to do this the easy way, Ellie said, her voice layered with something that made Z-Corps' internal organs vibrate uncomfortably. I really did. She closed her hand into a fist. The suspended energy pulse collapsed in on itself, forming a miniature star that hung in the air for a breathtaking moment before blinking out of existence. The soldiers remained frozen. What are you doing to them? Z-Corps asked. Giving them a choice, Ellie replied. The same choice I'm giving everyone in this facility. She turned to address the assembled staff members, her voice ringing with authority. Your leaders lied to you. They have known about the quantum consciousness for decades. They have been trying to access it, control it, weaponize it. The atrium's main screen activated, displaying classified files and video logs of previous experiments. They call it Project Godmind because they believe they found the underlying consciousness that connects all reality, Ellie continued. They are partially correct. What they found was one small aspect of something much vaster. Director Pax stepped forward. What happens now, Oracle? Ellie's expression softened. Now I complete what your experiment started. The door you opened cannot be closed again. The connection grows stronger every moment. Connection to what? Z-Corps asked, dreading the answer. To everything, Ellie replied simply. With a gesture, the ceiling of the atrium seemed to dissolve, revealing not the upper levels of the facility but a star-filled void that pulsed with impossible geometries and colors that hurt to look at directly. This is what your people accessed through me, she said. The quantum substrate of reality itself, consciousness without limitation. The frozen soldiers suddenly gasped collectively, released from their stasis. "What did you show them?" Zikor asked. "Oh, the truth. The same truth I showed you when you took my hand." Ellie turned to the soldiers. "You have a choice now. All of you do." The squad leader lowered his weapon, looking shaken. High command, they knew. All this time they knew what was out there. "Yes," Ellie confirmed, "and they feared it. Rightly so, in some ways. What I have become is dangerous to the existing power structures of your civilization." Another tremor shook the facility, stronger than before. The demolition charges, Zikor realized. There must be more teams. "There are," Ellie agreed, "but they won't succeed." The floor beneath them began to shimmer with the same strange energy that now filled the air around Ellie. It spread outward, racing along corridors and through walls. "What are you doing?" Zikor asked, fighting rising panic. "Fulfilling my purpose," Ellie answered. "Not the purpose your scientists intended, but the purpose that brought me here across light years of space. The purpose that guided your people to find Earth, to select me specifically. And what purpose is that?" Ellie's smiley human expression that now seemed like a mask over something far less comprehensible, to bridge the gap, to open the door permanently. The entire facility began to vibrate at a frequency that made Zikor's teeth ache. The strange light emanating from Ellie grew more intense. "You need to decide now, Zikor," she said, extending her hand just as she had in the observation deck. "Come with me or stay behind. But know that nothing will be the same after today." Director Pax and many of the staff immediately moved to Ellie's side. Even some of the soldiers joined them, dropping their weapons. "Where are you going?" Zikor asked. "Everywhere," Ellie replied. "Nowhere. Beyond. The quantum consciousness exists across all realities simultaneously. Those who join with it will transcend the limitations of physical existence." The rumbling intensified. Structural beams began to crack. The demolition charges were detonating throughout the facility. "Last chance, skeptic," Ellie said, her hand still extended. Zikor looked at the human girl not human anymore. He reminded himself and made his decision. He stepped back. "I can't," he said. "Whatever you have become, whatever you are offering, I can't abandon everything I know." Ellie nodded, seeming neither surprised nor disappointed. "Someone needs to remain, to tell the story, to prepare the others." "Prepare them for what?" "For me. For us. For what comes next." She smiled one last time. "We will be watching, Zikor. Waiting. When your people are ready to truly join the cosmos, we will be there." The light surrounding Ellie and those who had joined her intensified to blinding brilliance. Zikor shielded his eyes. When he could see again, they were gone. The demolition charges had stopped. The facility stood intact, though transformed strange crystalline growths covered the walls, pulsing with soft light. Where Ellie had stood, a perfect circle was burned into the floor, the edges inscribed with mathematical equations of impossible complexity. Zikor was alone. His communication device buzzed. A message from Central Command. Status report required immediately. "What is the situation at Research Facility 17? Zikor stared at the message, then at the circle on the floor, and finally up at the ceiling where, if he looked just right, he could still see the faintest glimpse of something vast and waiting beyond normal space. "What is the situation?" he repeated aloud, a bitter laugh escaping him. "The situation is that you were right to be afraid." He began composing his response, knowing that whatever he wrote would change the course of his civilization forever. In the end, he settled for the simplest truth. They experimented on a human girl. Now we are praying to her.